I'm going to paint my wheel today, and I made some tests with different paints I could find. This is the original center cap, and I buffed it out. So this is 32 years old. This aluminum color, which looks really cheesy and bad. Then this one right here looked a lot better than that, and it's from Rust-Oleum. It's a high performance wheel paint. The only problem is the metallic chips are like way too bright. They're too big. You can actually see the individual metallic chips. So I went online last night and found out that the closest color is from Duplicolor, and that's this one. And that does look good. The name of the paint is Duplicolor High Performance Wheel Coating. The original has more of a grayish color, and the Duplicolor is just a little bit more of a silver. That's the paint color there and there. The rest of this is just epoxy primer. And this is the wheel I done a couple weeks ago. It looks good. You know, it's paint. I'm not sure how long that's going to hold up, but the clear I used has UV protection in it, so it shouldn't yellow. So I'm thinking it's going to look like that for quite a while. Alright, well, I'm prepping the left rear wheel, and I found oven cleaner to be the best. I like this Zep stuff. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, and I'm just going to take a brush and just test an area. Yeah, I mean, it's just basically comes off with my finger. Scrub it down. Well, now I'm going to hose it off. Yeah, that didn't take much effort at all. I mean, the chemical done 99% of the work. I mean, this ain't no concourse restoration. You don't need to get every little bit of dust out of there. More importantly, here's the front. And I got these all cleaned. I can feel that's like a tar material, and they'll come off with lacquer thinner. And now I've got a little acid brush with lacquer thinner. And put it on heavy. Got an electric drill with a cone-shaped stone, and I'm going to try and work out some of that roughness on that curb rash there. I'm switching to the Dremel. This is a coarser cone, plus this is a higher RPM. I have a coarse, I think it's an 80 grit drum barrel on the Dremel. Yeah, that's working really good. Okay, it's almost out. Well, there it is from up here. Looks perfect. If you look real close, you can see a scratch here and there. These are the tiny holes used at Mercedes for a wheel alignment. Then this brush is for a pistol, 9mm. Fits the lug perfect. You can hear it. It's going through the smaller metal sleeve, not this large hole. Well, here's how the wheel gets mounted to the disc on these two risers, and there's usually like just thick tar material on here, probably from brake dust and anti-seize and other things. So I use lacquer thinner on a brush, and I clean off what I can, and then I'll come back with a DA sander with an 80 grit. And then you can see the lighter color, so it's perfectly flat now. Well, this wheel's not that bad. Usually this is really rough. If I was going to polish the rim, I'd never put an 80 grit on here. You'd have a hard time getting rid of them. But since I'm going to prime and paint it, that's what I'm using. Well, it's going quick, so I'm going to 80 the whole wheel. Okay, I've got everything I can get with the orbital sander. And I've done a really good job. Now I go around with an 80 on the bead and on the inside where you just can't get in there with a machine. Right in the corner. Now that I went over everything with an 80 by hand, I'm going to take a 120 on the sander and go over everything with this. Alright, it's almost down the bare metal, and this should take out all the 80 marks. After the 120, I'm just going to go over it with a purple Scotch Brite, mainly in these slots here, and these portholes as well. I cleaned the tire with lacquer thinner, just put it on a rag and quickly wiped it off, but it's clean and it's tacky almost, so the tape will stick to that. I'm using this normal tape. It sticks better than the green or the blue, and it's thinner. It's, you know, better to work in here with. So I'm just going to tape up the tire now. Okay, I'm now using acetone and going over the wheel. Just want to make sure everything is perfectly clean. And I'm using a white paper towel. You can see all the dirt it's picking up. So I'll probably do this like twice until it's starting to look cleaner. You can see all the dirt that it picked up, but you know, a good paint job is 99% preparation. I'm going to then just take a tack cloth, go over it lightly, and then get the first coat of primer on. Well, this is the primer I'm using, Rust-Oleum Self-Etching Primer. If you have bare metal, you really should use that, at least for the first coat. Once that sticks onto something, then anything will top coat that and it'll be fine. To get into these slots, I have to lift the wheel up like that and move it around, and that's why I don't like using the index cards. But the first coat I just put on really light. I almost dust it. I want to make sure I get the bead here where it meets the rubber. So to do that I have to get fairly low. There. Okay, I'll let that set for like 10-15 minutes. Okay, I'm applying the second coat, and this one's much heavier because this will be my final coat. I scuffed down the primer with a green scuff pad, and I'm going to let it dry off a little more, tack it down, and then I'll be ready to paint it. Okay, well, I'm using Duplicolor High Performance Wheel Coating. And I got to get the bead where it meets the tire really low, like that. And then the back side of that slot. And just go around. I go inside the slots. I'm just going to put a light coat over the top, and that'll be good enough for a first coat. Okay, well, this is the third and final coat. I'm going to put this one on a little heavier. And I go at a 90. That looks good. Alright, let that dry. Okay, it's dry. It's been like 15 minutes. And I'm using Rust-Oleum clear gloss. It says non-yellowing, UV resistant, and it's going to be outdoors. So I'm going to put the first coat on kind of light, and the same pattern down low, and then rotate the tire and go all the way around. Got all the slots. Now I'm just going to go over the whole thing. And then at a 90. And let that set up for 10 minutes. Okay, it's dried to the touch, so it's ready for another coat. Putting this one on a little bit heavier. This should be the last coat. Just a little bit slower. That looks good. I just want to give it a double coat. And this will definitely be the last coat. That looks nice. Alright, let that dry. There's my new one next to the last old one. Looks good.